How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the rollback. We got a sweet one for you today. It is Capcom Cup 12, and the matchup is Xiaohai Mai versus Blaz Sagat. Now, for a little bit of background, Blaz burst onto the scene by placing second at Capcom Cup 11 just 1 year prior to this match. Though not many outside his local Chilean scene knew who he was before this, he quickly proved that this was no fluke, raking up big finishes at tournaments throughout the following competitive year. One of these was the Esports World Cup, where he placed second to Xiaohai and sort of established an instant and incredible rivalry between these two fantastic fighting game players from different generations. Every time these two meet, the result is an ever-heightening metagame of skilled interaction and decision-making, and it, culminated so far anyway with this match in winners finals, I believe, of the pool. And spoiler alert, it comes down to a final decisive game 5, which many are considering to be one of the greatest games of Street Fighter 6 played yet, if not just one of the best fighting game matches of all time. So let's hop right into it. We're going to start out on game 3 here. Both players have won a game apiece. Fairly standard stuff in those games, so I'm just going to save a little bit of time and get us a little bit closer to that big fun moment. Now, one of the best things Sagat has going for him in this matchup are these long-reaching limbs. That was a well-spaced Tiger Nexus there, Sagat's version of the Jinrai kick. But yeah, so obviously Mai, well-known in this game for her incredible ability to just skip the neutral game, throw out a charged fan, which forces the opponent to block and eat multiple mix-ups in a row, which just statistically will lead to their death. But Sagat has the ability with his long limbs to sort of stuff out Mai's fan charge from ranges where a lot of characters might not be able to. He's got a really good fireball game, which can force Mai to have to get in a little more than she would probably like to. But then Mai, of course, has this level 1, which adds extra damage and hits to her projectiles and other special moves. Alright, here, I gotta roll this one back, though, real quick. This is what I think is a big foreshadowing moment for the epic conclusion to this match. Here we've got Blaz burned out against Mai and inching ever so slowly towards the corner. And Xiaohai goes for a half-screen overhead here, which I have to imagine was a missed input, probably just supposed to be a medium fan. Either way, Blaz is very clearly looking to react to something. And it looks like, we don't even see really a bob here of him. Maybe that right there. These 2 frames here may be indicative of him inputting the super motion. He was probably just doing it in the middle of this stand medium kick animation. Either way, looking to react to likely a fan, but just anything that Xiaohai was going to throw out, and it works. Sagat's level 2 being projectile invincible, pretty good at getting through and punishing projectiles from half to 2/3 screen. And the tables have completely turned in this round. That is an intentional trade setup. Of course, one of Sagat's best moves, if not one of the best normals in the whole game, is this stand medium punch here, plus on block. Very slight pushback here, which means he can do at least 2 in a row. fairly safely. He, you know, if the opponent is respecting the plus frames of the stand medium punch, you can take slight steps forward to squeeze in a third or even a fourth sometimes. Either way, though, since it is plus on block, it will trade even with a 4-frame jab here, and the hit stun on the move opens up some really juicy trade combos for Sagat, which is what happens here. And Blaz closes out game 3. I'm going to skip over the character select screen. And here we go, that's stand medium punch pressure. So Mai is certainly blessed with a long-reaching, an extremely long-reaching stand medium punch, which is great for whiff punishing in situations like this. But when it's in situations like this where you're actually whiff punishing an equally long-range move from tip range like this, this being Sagat's stand medium kick, where you would normally have a guaranteed sort of option select here, if the stand medium punch whiffs, then nothing comes out, but if it connects, then you know that you've whiff punished something, and so it is safe to cancel into the special move for a guaranteed follow-up. But the distance here is so great that Mai just doesn't cover the gap on the screen quite fast enough, and Sagat is able to fall out of the what would usually be a guaranteed combo here, and actually gets a gigantic punish here. Big swing in the life bars for this round through that interaction. Blaz sets up the stand medium punch pressure in the corner. Really nice sweep there to duck under the high tiger shot and punish it, of course. That was a safe tiger knee, but not a plus one. We didn't see a screen shake, so Xiaohai knew that he was able to challenge there a little bit. There's where I was talking about with the Sagat's projectiles being able to contend with Mai's fans pretty well. Blaz doing here. Let me roll this back real quick for 1 second. Blaz doing pretty common technique at high levels in this game is drive rush and then immediate jab. And you will often see, we saw Xiaohai earlier with punishing with stand medium punch. If he were to attempt that here, then Blaz would almost certainly be with punishing him instead. But Xiaohai smartly does not bite here. Instead, walks back, gives Blaz a little bit more room to hang himself. Doesn't quite get the whiff punish here, but the idea was there. That's going to close the round with the level 1. Xiaohai stealing back a turn after the blocked overhead there. Blaz fights his way out of the corner. Goes for a shimmy, doesn't bite. Blaz does a good job of mixing up his Tiger Nexus follow-ups in general, I would say. He is at a close enough range here that this light kick follow-up will be punishable. But I think Xiaohai does an equally good, if not better, job of reading what follow-ups Blaz is going to go for. Just blocks it out here and gets a nice little punish. Of course, Mai pretty commonly wants to set up level 1 just for that reason. It turns her normal fans into real projectiles. Now here is a truly high-level technique that's almost required to face Mai at this level of the game. The multi-hitting level 1 powered up fan from Mai needs to be perfect parried twice here. It's got 2 hits as a projectile, whereas her normal fan would only have 1. Blaz gets the double perfect parry here, just as Xiaohai thinks it's safe to follow up behind the fan for what is often a guaranteed mix-up. Blaz gets the double perfect parry and interrupts the drive rush with crouch medium punch. And Blaz is able to do this pretty consistently. It's obviously something he's labbed quite a bit.
そうですね、これわざと飛んでます。相手のホームランストックを消費させるためにも飛んでますね。これでホームランはなくなった。あと1個なんですけど、コンボの圧力とか。Both players
playing nice and patient here. You know, this is what I really love about seeing matches between two competitors who have played each other a bunch already. We get stuff like this really delayed back heavy kick here, which is likely designed to catch a throw tech here. But Blaz just stays super patient. Takes a throw instead of a round-ending combo. He is in the corner though. Drive rush, low medium kick. Here we go. Let's take a look at this sequence, see how he escapes the corner. So he's got his back to the corner here with low health. It looks like I would guess that Blaz is thinking Xiaohai is looking to whiff punish something like crutch medium punch, stand medium kick, and so Blaz instead goes for drive rush low medium kick, which gives him just, you know, it essentially extends the range of his normal here. Whereas if he had just done crouch medium kick raw from this range, it very likely would have been whiff punished into death. Instead, he gets a sort of extended one, which leaves him advantageous and very close to Mai. And gets a nice meter dump into the level 2 max damage ender. It's not enough. And now he's got to find a way to close it out. He goes for the light Nexus follow-up here again. And while it is enough to burn out, let's go back here. So this last hit does burn out the last of Xiaohai's drive meter, but since he was not in burnout at the time, it doesn't actually cause any chip damage, and it is actually still punishable on block. You know, had this previous hit, the knee strike here, had that been the one to burn Xiaohai out, then I think Xiaohai's only recourse would have been to super here. Otherwise, he would have just been chipped out here. But just barely enough meter to stave off the burnout, and then gets a nice punish. And we're going to a final game.
でバーンアウトだったんでマイナス5のままであると。そこにしっかり反撃、素晴らしい選択。さあこのうちのどちらか一人が
Blaz is always ready to counter hit confirm the stand medium punch into back heavy punch, which is optimal for damage. This little frame kill here after the uppercut in the corner. Blaz does crouch light kick into a meaty stand medium punch, which is going to be even more plus on block than usual. A little bit of a missed input there. Where it looks like Blaz was trying to cancel maybe a crouch jab or something into a Tiger Nexus. Instead just gets the Nexus raw. Or it could have just been an intentionally raw Nexus. You know, he's at a good range where it's a nice spacing to where it would be pretty safe on block. But Xiaohai interrupts. And whiff punish with a sweep here. I really like this idea too, this sort of fake safe jump. It's the jump itself is too early to be an actual safe jump, but let's see how meaty this back heavy kick is. Of course, very common for my players to do meaty back heavy kick. It's one of her best plus on block options. It looks like Sagat is waking up here, and it hits on frame 4. So it wasn't actually a meaty, but gives Blaz just enough frames to attempt something here. He gets punish countered. I'm not quite sure what exactly was about to come out here. But yeah, really nicely timed to catch basically anything other than an invincible reversal from Blaz there. No level 1 this time.
なんでいく早い展開を作っていくのは上海の前
ドライブが危ない歩き投げ
下がらせないか
ため
This is kind of crazy. You know, it's most of the time when Mai throws this charge fan and the opponent jumps, it's pretty ideal. It's kind of exactly what she wants to achieve, to anti-air with her uppercut here. It actually does look like Blaz chooses a really nice position to jump in here, where a DP from Mai would have just barely whiffed. So good restraint from Xiaohai's part. Nice block on the step kick there, the forward light kick. Blaz is once again in the corner. Going for a raw parry read. Maybe looking for stand fierce, stand medium punch, something like that. Xiaohai moves up to match point. Drive rush overhead. Blaz gets to start his plus on block pressure. And so here is one of Sagat's main weaknesses, I would say, is that for all the power of his stand medium punch, things like that, stand medium kick as well as a long range poke, a lot of his best options are mids and are therefore, they are mids and also rather rhythmic. We've seen Blaz go for the multiple stand medium punches in a row, and there is a real rhythm to it that it can be perfect parried by a savvy opponent. Xiaohai swings the momentum back a bit, interrupts step kick with stand fierce, and we're in the corner once again. Wow. So delayed throw here, and it looks like Xiaohai should still have time to uppercut here, but it's just a little nervous maybe. And here we get the autocorrect uppercut into level 3. I really wish we could see the Blaz's inputs here, because I'd be curious of how he inputs this. If he's inputting the DP motion on the front side and then an extra quarter circle on the back side to get this cancel. Really good awareness and execution coming into play here to get that. Xiaohai's going to be burned out. Alright, now the Nexus pressure is especially scary. Forward light kick even scarier. But Xiaohai just stays nice and patient, doesn't give up even that much ground here, and gets full meter back. Xiaohai is just one good hit, close to probably a throw and a poke away here. Both players playing very cautiously. Step kick catches Xiaohai walking forward, and Blaz baits out the uppercut. Xiaohai had this uppercut connected, that just would have been the game in the match, so I don't blame him for going for it, but does give Blaz a little bit of hope here. Doesn't get the perfect parries this time, but also doesn't eat that bad of a mix-up. Once again, Xiaohai's gotten a bit of a read on Blaz's rhythm here and is getting these perfect parries. So Blaz gets the first perfect parry hit here, but Blaz gets the first perfect parry on the first hit of the projectile here, but whereas last time Xiaohai drive rushed after the second perfect parry, this time he drive rushes in between the two hits, and that might have thrown off the timing of Blaz's perfect parry here. So Xiaohai gets in. Blaz gets the double perfect parry that time. Again, he's very consistent with that. Both players with basically full super meter. Level 3s are going to be available. And here, I showed earlier that Blaz did fake drive rush into crouching jab to bait out something from Xiaohai. Here, this time he commits to the full drive rush, burning himself out in the process, And Xiaohai does actually go for the drive rush check here with the incredibly long-reaching stand medium punch into a big combo. Saves the level 3 for now, though. Gets a meaty crouch medium punch, and now is going to burn it. And Blaz is just in a horrible situation here. Going to be burned out in the corner against a basically full metered Mai. Xiaohai just letting these OD fans rip, burns himself out in the process. I have to go back over this whole sequence here, because this post level 3 position here is just, it seems like so close to checkmate at this point. Blaz's only response to something like a stand heavy punch drive impact here would be super, which of course he is fully capable of doing, and that's why Xiaohai doesn't go for it. He is absolutely respecting the heck out of Blaz's ability to react here, and so his only cancels are into the much quicker, much safer OD fans, which also give him continued corner pressure here. So yeah, Xiaohai is just, using his gigantic meter advantage to pile on some chip damage. I also want to point out that Blaz is intentionally standing up to block the high fan here, because that actually, clears it from the screen more quickly. If he were still crouching at this point, then the fan would be on screen for longer. So standing up to block is certainly optimal here. And Xiaohai just not wanting to give Blaz any breathing room here. Doesn't want some random crouch medium punch to come out and ruin his nice little position here. And so keeps the block strings nice and tight, uses all of his meter in the process. Doesn't quite get the throw here. It's just a little bit out of range. Was trying to sneak in the throw here before the fan bounce hits. It's just out of range, and now all of a sudden Blaz does find the jab, and Xiaohai is burned out again. Blaz gets his meter back, starts doing the same thing here, dumping his meter out. Xiaohai goes for the jump here. Blaz once again gets the autocorrect to uppercut, but does not cancel into level 3, which would have ended the game on the spot. Instead, the game continues. We get a drive rush throw and a level 1. Sorry, I won't interrupt here. So this is meant to, gosh, the craziness of this whole sequence is just, I've seen this so many times now, and I am still just grinning from ear to ear watching this whole thing again. So Xiaohai wakes up into a meaty level 1 super from Sagat here, starts taking chip damage. We can see up in the corner there, takes 2 hits of chip there, takes a third right as his meter comes back, and so he will no longer, being out of burnout, he will not take any more chip damage. The game continues once again. Throws some fans to start up the pressure. Blaz tries to respond with OD Tiger Shot and is a little too slow, and here I'm just going to let it play from here. Alright, now I will roll it back. So Blaz is once again burned out here for the second time. Xiaohai is once again burned out here for the second or third time, I think. Both players just, trying not to give an inch here. Trying not to give the opponents any ability to get any sort of attack out, keeping everything so safe and spending all their meter in the process. Blaz is now the one in danger of a chip out from just about any charged fan touch. Any normal poke, counter poke is going to close it out. And so he backdashes here, which does a couple things. It gives him the ability to, see if another fan throw is coming and potentially jump over it, get out of the way of it to avoid the chip out. But what it also does is give Xiaohai a little extra feeling of security here. Feeling like, okay, I'm safe to toss out my last OD fan here, which if I get this off, then there's just not much that Blaz is going to be able to do to prevent the chip out here. Blaz, after backdashing, immediately forward dashes, buffering Sagat's level 2 at the same time, sees the OD fan come out, and completes the input for the kill. Absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to see any future matches these two play against each other, and definitely one of the highlights of Capcom Cup 12. Alright, that's going to do it for this one. Highly encourage you to check out this full match. I'll have the link in the description. Like and subscribe, but more importantly, let me know in the comments if there were any other cool moments from this match I didn't cover, and let me know what match I should cover next. Thank you so much for watching.